your mess is your message, why your story, these painful things that happened in the past, maybe something that you don't really even want to talk about that much. Think about that and why actually we're going to talk about today how this might turn into your greatest asset if you just use it the right way. So welcome. Hello, I am Owen. Thank you for joining today. We are continuing to talk today about the abundance hacker code, what it means to have the life that you want, through becoming an abundance hacker, through committing to leadership, causing your life, technology, being open to new ideas, and authenticity, which we're going to talk about today, about really just knowing who you are. We are live on both Facebook and YouTube, so feel free to drop a comment. Let me know that you're here. Say hello. We'd love to talk to you. Okay, so what does telling your story, revisiting pains of the past really have to do with anything at all, with having the life that it is that you want? When you think about what it is that you're passionate about, someone told me this once, is that passion usually comes from a wounding at some point, maybe at a really young age or early on in life. You know, my passion around helping people to, break out of jobs and to create their own future was from my own pains of not having that for myself, or believing that I didn't have that for myself. And then it goes obviously much deeper, but it's difficult to think about these things. It's difficult to go back to these memories because they're painful for a reason, right? They're painful for a reason. But if you think about what you're really passionate about right now, it's probably connected to solving a problem that you had in a time when you got really hurt, when things just really, really sucked. And again, maybe it was in childhood, maybe it was later, what have you. But this all sounds like awful, right? Why am I asking you to go and do this? And who cares, right? What do you think? Who cares about your stuff, right? Who even cares about your story? Maybe you've heard somebody tell a story and it was about their life and you thought, blah, blah, whatever, boo-hoo, this is not a story that resonates with me at all. This is just somebody telling their crap, and maybe in a way have a bit of a judgment about them on it. God knows I do from time to time when I hear some stuff like that. Now think about this. If you hear somebody telling the story about their past and their struggles and things like that, and you're really just not connecting to it at all, first of all, think about, do you have any common experience with the person who's telling you this story? Does it have anything to do with your life at all? Or is it actually waking something up in you, really driving you in a way to move forward? What's important about stories? Why are stories so important? Why am I talking to you about them now? It's how our brains work, right? Our human brains are wired to understand stories, emotions, feelings. If you really think about it, the outer rings of our brain are where all the language lives and all that main conscious thought and all of the stuff that we associate with our everyday sort of waking conscious life. But the part in the middle of your brain, the part in the center, doesn't understand language at all. It understands emotion and feeling and deep connection. And that's what stories do. That's what happens. So think about what happened to you. What was that pain that happened? And what passion did it drive out of you? What did it make you feel really committed to doing? Right? For me also, growing up as a gay man, life sucks in the closet, especially when in a time like this was probably, the 90s. Not cool to be gay at that time, right? Now I am committed to giving people a voice, right? Helping people who can't speak to speak through the internet and these kinds of communications. So do you see there where there's that connection? Here's the other side of it, right? There's the one side where it's your story and just getting cool with it on your own is the one part. But the other thing about your story is that you have to tell it. You have it so that you can tell it. Right? Imagine, you go through this painful moment. In my case, what I do with giving people a voice and what have you. And I got very involved in politics and nonprofits and things like that to help, in the cause of the LGBT community and whatnot. I got involved and I did something. I took my pain, I got involved and I did something. This is what your pain is for, because otherwise it was just pointless pain. Your pain happens so that you can have this story of how you got through it and how you are now able to help other people through it. When you tell your story to somebody else who is going through the same thing, and I guarantee you there is at least one other person on this planet who is going through the same thing or has gone through the same thing that you are. When you tell your story about where you were at the beginning and you connect with this person, and then you tell them not just how you got through it, what you achieved, but then also what you learned in the process, you're going to create an incredible deep connection with this person that you're not going to be able to otherwise. All right. And doing this, you are going to be able to build your tribe. You are going to be able to create your online community. You are going to be able to attract people to you who are going through similar things, who are the people who, perhaps you can help with your story, perhaps people you can serve, and maybe you can even build a business around it. That's sort of what we do here. That's what abundance hackers do. And that's why your story is so important. Okay. So how do you tell your story, right? This sounds so easy. I've just laid a whole bunch of stuff on you. It doesn't sound easy, excuse me. I laid a whole bunch of stuff on you. I've told you to go deep to your past pains and get clear with it and then tell them to somebody else. How do you do it? Well, here are 3 steps you can take to guide you in this process. So the very first is just get clear about what that painful moment is. That's going to be hard enough. There's probably a lot of other stuff up around it, but really be honest with yourself. Give yourself permission to explore what is that moment? What is that thorn that's stuck in your foot you might be driving your passions right now, really driving your purpose in life. Just get clear about that and figure that out, okay? Write it down. And then the step 2, write down what you did about it. Write down what you did about it. Because presumably, maybe you've done something about it. You've had some discovery about it at least. Write down what you did about it. And then write down what you accomplished from doing what you did about it. And then also what you learned, right? So what you achieved, right? I wrote this paper. I made a book. I cleaned the garage. And then what you learned, right? I learned I keep too much stuff. I learned that I can do something I didn't think that I could before, right? That part is really good about it, okay? So write down what you did, what you achieved, and what you learned. And then the final piece is tell the story to somebody. Just even if it is just picking up the phone and calling a friend, all the way up to making a video and putting it up on YouTube, right here on Facebook. Tell the story to somebody. Just try it. It might seem really uncomfortable, but just give it a shot. And I guarantee you will be blown away by the results. You will see how powerful telling your story really is. Now, if you want an example of this in action, then I highly recommend, I'm going to put a link in the chat here. Head on over to the Facebook page for Angel City Sports and watch some of the live videos that are showing up there on that news feed right now. This is an organization that is putting on a virtual sporting event for adaptive athletes. It's athletes with physical disabilities. And they're sharing their stories right now leading up to the event. Just if you don't believe what I've been saying to you about the power of your story, click the link, go visit that Facebook page and listen to those stories and tell me that they don't move you, right? So anyway, that's how and why to tell your story even when you think no one cares, and why it's so important. And it's a really important piece of being an abundance hacker. And again, abundance hacking is all about supporting yourself and staying in service to the people that you want, even when times get tough, like right now. All right? So that's it for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk actually a little bit more about, this all is in the 30-day challenge, this 30 Days to Freedom challenge that I'm going to introduce to you on Sunday. But tomorrow, I'm going to tell you a little bit more what your life would be like during the challenge and after, and how it's going to teach you more stuff like how to tell your story and why it's so important. Okay? So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, and we'll talk a little bit more about the challenge. In the meantime, dive into your story, tell it to somebody, tell me how it goes. I'd love to hear it. All right? Thank you so much. Happy 4th of July weekend. I will see you tomorrow, and take care.